All right, ladies, a little more Tony Robbins for you. Again, Tony Robbins, great at shifting the mindset, at understanding what gets us to be at peak state, to be able to achieve our goals, to achieve our dreams, to take that ownership of our life. And what you focus on, you get more of. We know this stuff, right? This isn't anything new, but sometimes we have to think about what we're thinking about, right? So we got to focus on what we're focused on. So what are you focused on, right? That becomes the question. If we get more of what we focus on, we get more of it into our lives. The question is, well, what are we actually focused on, right? And Tony broke down a couple of things in there, right? When he breaks down the different patterns of what we focus on, right? And these are things that you should take in yourself and jot notes and think to yourself, like, where do I focus, right? If we're trying to change the outcomes of our life, then we have to think about currently where we sit. So, are we focused on what we have or what we're missing? Like on your natural day to day, is your mind focused on more of what you have, the great things, the blessings, the things you're grateful for, what you currently have, or is your mind focused more on what you don't have, what you're missing, what you need, what you wish you had, right? And understanding where you sit, healthy balance of those things, not saying it's all bad to go off and constantly be thinking about the thing and think about the things that you're missing, because that's how we get better, right? But there is a balance between, do you ever focus on what you have? Do you ever focus on the fact that you have great relationships or, right, great health, or, right, you are relatively stable financially, or whatever the case is? Like, do you focus on what you have more, or do you focus on what you're missing more? This will get to some of the things again that you might be having patterns of your focus. Second thing he said, right? Are you focused more on what you can control or what you can't control? It's very easy, ladies, to get a chance to focus on what we can't control: other people, circumstances, habits, right? Like all those things that are outside of us. It's easy to focus on things we can't control. But that's one of the easiest ways to get into anxiety or depression, or, right, feelings of things that we maybe don't want to feel, specifically because those are things that are out of our control. So if you know the only things you control are your attitude and your actions, how you feel, right? Your thoughts, you control those, and then you control your actions, what you do every day. Those are the only two things you have control over. Are you focused on those things mostly through the day? Or are you more focused on the things you can't control? What someone else thinks, what someone else said, what's happening in the world, any of those things that you can't control. Something to pay attention to. Lastly, talked about your focus between the past, present, and future. Where does your mind gravitate towards? Typically, think for yourself on a day to day basis. Where does your mind gravitate? Does it gravitate to things in the past? Man, I wish I would have done this in the past. Man, I remember the good old times. Man, I remember back, right, 8 years ago when this was going on in my life. Those were good days or good times. Are we focused in the past? Are we actively focused on the present, where your feet are right now, currently, what you're currently experiencing, what you're currently thinking about, what you're currently, right, dealing with? Are we focused on the future? Right now, again, Tony Robbins said healthy balance, right? Healthy balance between the present and the future. Not really much that we can focus on that's going to benefit our lives if we're thinking about the past primarily, but focusing on the present, currently where your feet are, and then thinking about what you're building, the life you're getting to, the hope for the future. That's how you create a great life for yourself, because you are actively thinking about what's happening in the future. It's tough for me sometimes to hear when people say, right, I can't think past a couple. Hey, I normally ask, fast forward me out 5 years, fast forward me out 10 years, like kind of tell me what ideal life looks like. If you could draw it up however you want it, if you could draw it up however you want it, what would life look like? And people struggle with that question. People struggle to really design what their ideal life looks like, from work to leisure to relationships to where they live to what they consume to where they spend time to the conversations they have, what they wear, what they drive, like just really diving into what our ideal life is. Many people struggle with that because we're not always thinking future. We're very much so present, maybe even past. So it's hard for us to develop that future. That's something that we got to focus on. And then after we figure out what we're focused on, Tony Robbins said the question is, what meaning? What's the meaning of it, right? What meaning are we creating for it? And then what are we going to do about it? So once we focus on something, we give it a meaning in our mind. We say, this means that. This means this is the beginning of something great. This is the end of something great. This is the beginning of something I don't want. This is the end of something I didn't want. Whatever the case is, we give it a meaning in our mind. So what meaning are you giving those things you're focused on? What meaning are you attaching to it? And then what are you going to do about that meaning? What are you going to do about it? These are the things to focus on. Tony Robbins broke it down very well. Again, I highly recommend you go in and find some more Tony Robbins stuff. Go to one of his events, whatever the case is. It's going to help you put a lot of these things in place. But to cross-reference it with our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets, champions are future-oriented. So that goes to that past, present, future thinking. What are you focused on? And I'd submit to you that we want to be more focused on building the future, a future orientation. We want to think about what life is going to look like, and let's start designing that. So here's what it says in the text. It says, while amateurs often live in the past, champions look forward to the future. Pros habitually focus on the present while creating their ultimate vision for and landscape of the future. This future orientation allows them to dream of grand visions and unlimited possibilities. It also keeps them motivated and moving forward by keeping the proverbial carrot out in front. Amateurs like to talk about the good old days and how they wish things were like they were before. Professional performers are just the opposite. The pros revere and respect the past, but place responsibility for the future squarely on their shoulders. Taking personal responsibility for failures, successes, and actions in general is a trait of world-class performers. The saying is, if it is to be, it's up to me. It reflects their beliefs. Average people would rather see themselves as victims of circumstance beyond their control. The great ones make their own circumstances and respond with a higher level of awareness to negative events in their lives. Their execution-based focus and future orientation keeps them on track. It all begins with taking full responsibility for their lives and their futures. So again, if we're thinking about what we just listened to with Tony Robbins and saying, okay, what are we focused on? We're going to get more of whatever we focus on. And then whatever meaning we attach to that focus is going to cause us to feel a certain way. Whenever we feel that certain way, we then choose to take actions one way or the other. So if we start with the focus, in one of those focus patterns, are you more focused on the past, on the present, or on the future? And again, it says here, pros habitually focus on the present while creating their ultimate vision for and landscape of the future. So you're focused here in the present. You're handling what needs to be handled right now. We can't focus fully on tomorrow. If we think too much about the future and not enough about the present, that also brings a form of anxiety. That also brings a form of, right, us, again, thinking about what we don't have, right? There also comes with that. So again, it's a balance. But you being focused on the present while creating your vision for the future, creating your vision, creating your landscape. So you're focused today on who do you need to be around? What environment do you need to create? Where actually are we going, right? Like we have to know the vision of where we're going so we can create the environment and the people and get the resources and read the information we need to get to where we're going. That's how we focus, stay focused on the present, but also create that vision for the future. It's by being future oriented. And again, the benefit of this, ladies and gentlemen, the benefit of being future oriented, the benefit of you saying, hey, I'm going to focus on the lifestyle that I'm designing is, like it says here, you can keep the proverbial carrot out in front. So it keeps you motivated. It keeps you moving forward. Sometimes when we get stagnant, sometimes when our life isn't fully motivated, we're not fully pushing ourselves to get to the life that we want, it's possibly because We've let the dream die a little bit. We've let the future vision not be as clear, and we are more focused on the past and the present. So it makes it difficult to keep that vision alive, to keep the motivation alive. But the more that you focus on that vision, again, it gives you, like it says here, dreams of grand visions and unlimited possibilities. When you have hope for the future, when you know that your future is brighter than today, when you know that there's more up ahead for you, there's more in store, you just have to develop into that person that can now receive all of those blessings and get all of those gifts. You have it inside of you. If you can constantly stay motivated and stay focused on those grand visions and the unlimited possibilities, it helps pull you through life a lot easier, a lot simpler, right? A lot smoother. It pulls you through life because you know good things are happening or will happen because that's what you're headed towards, right? So we have to make sure that we are focused on this side of things. Again, the other two things, are you focused on what you can control versus what you can't control? And are you focused on what you have versus what you're missing? These little tricks, ladies and gentlemen, these little mindset shifts will help you go through the day a lot smoother, will help you be able to be a little bit more mentally tough, emotionally stronger in your day if you can practice these things. Your outside world won't change unless your inside world changes. If we change our thinking, that's when we change our life, right? If we change how we're viewing things, our perspective on things, that's when our life changes. So how can we use today to start shifting our perspective about what we're focused on? Can we focus more on the things that we have? That brings a sense of joy and a sense of fulfillment and a sense of happiness when you know that you have already accomplished things, right? A lot of this stuff is therapy talk, right? When you go to therapy, you go to counseling, right? You are enough. You have enough. You are enough. Sometimes we just need to hear that. That's therapy stuff, right? Sometimes you just need to hear that you are enough as you are, who you are, where you are, in your gifts and talents and everything that God has pulled you through. You are enough right now. You're enough, right? Focusing on what you have, the things that you have accomplished, the things that you are currently. It's a good thing. It allows us to have more ownership of our life and have more fulfillment of it versus us thinking about the things we are not, the areas that we lack, the things we're not the strongest in, the things that we don't do well, the things that we've been struggling and trying to do for years and years and never get a chance to do it. If we focus a lot on that stuff, again, it leads to what the meaning is. It leads to how we think about what that story tells us. Oh, because I haven't ever been able to get my health in order, that just means I'm not good at health. Because I've never been able to get my finances in order, that means I'm not good with money. However, right, because I haven't been able to keep a relationship, that means I'm not good with people, right? Like we attach a meaning to it if we're focused too much on what we don't have and what we're not good at. That turns into who we think we are and then our actions and what we do about that. When we tell ourselves we're not good with money, right? I can go down this path for a long time because I've helped so many people through it. But when we tell ourselves we're not good with money, we create that meaning that we're not good with money. And what do? We create systems around us being bad with money, aka 4 different bank accounts, one to pay the light bill, one to pay the mortgage, one to pay the other. It's because right? We have all these accounts because we didn't trust ourselves. We told ourselves a meaning, I'm not good with money. Therefore, I need to create systems around how to make sure I save myself from myself, basically. Right? That's what we do. Right? Our thoughts lead to the meanings, right? Leads to the actions. And then we create systems. We do this in every area of our life, ladies and gentlemen. I could talk about money, but we do this in all areas. We do it with our relationships. We do it with our health. We do it with how we're thinking, our vocation, all the stuff. All the stuff. So that's why we have to be very intentional about what we're focused on. Are you thinking about what you're thinking about? Are you thinking about where your energy is flowing? Are you thinking about what you have or what you don't have? Are you thinking about things you can control, which is your thoughts and actions and behaviors? That's what you can control. your attitudes, or are you thinking about what you can't control? The weather, your family, your friends, your boss, your job, the traffic, whatever, right? Like, are you focused on things that you just can't even control? That's again, we have to focus on, we have to think about these things. And then again, to our text, are we focused more past, present, or future? Where are you focused, ladies and gentlemen? It says here, all great leaders have a vision and idealization uh, in which they can continually imagine the perfect outcome to all situations, right? That's what great leaders have. They have that vision to say, this thing's going to turn out great. I know it's going to turn out great. I think about the future and I think about these grand visions and the unlimited possibilities we have for greatness. That's what continues to pull us. The action step for today says program yourself by repeating this statement until you believe it. The past is only important as it relates to the present and the future, and any mistakes in my past have been for the purpose of helping me create a bountiful future. The past is only important as it relates to the present and the future, and any mistakes in my past have been for the purpose of helping me create a bountiful future. This affirmation harnesses the power of the past and directs it to the only place it can serve you, which is in the future. Right? Understand you got to focus on the future, ladies and gentlemen, but also understand we get what we focus on. We get what we get more of what we focus on. If you focus on good things, you get more good things. If you focus on more fearful things, you get more fear in your life. If you focus more on things you can't control, it's going to bring you more anxiety and more, right, grief and all types of stuff because you can't control it. Focus on what you can control. Focus on right now in the present where your feet are, and then developing and designing the life that you want. And focus on the things you have in your control, the things that you have that are strengths, the things that are already inside of you. If you focus on those things, if you magnify your strengths, if you talk about the good things, it'll lead you to more good things versus continuously focusing on the things you don't have. Okay? Let's go out and make it happen, y'all. It's a great Wednesday. Go out, have a great day. I love you guys. I want you to win. Your families deserve it. They're waiting on you to win and pick up all this good information and apply it so you can pass it down to kids, grandkids, the generations. Start thinking differently. Man, imagine not just passing down finances, but passing down mindsets, teaching people, teaching our families how to think better, how to be more emotionally, mentally, spiritually strong to get through this life. Imagine if you were the catalyst for that. That's what these calls are for. I'm proud of y'all for taking it in. I'll see you guys on Friday. Go out and make a difference today. Take care.